Hi, I'm Joe Estey with Lucas Organizational Performance Training. I want to talk to you about one of the most important challenges and opportunities managers are going to have to really impact the work and improve performance. And it's not the typical way we think we have to, by motivating the employees. There are countless books written on motivation, but there are also other studies that show that motivation really isn't the issue. The issue is a lack of ability. All too often, we focus on the thing we really can't change while not managing the things we ought to change. For 30 years, a Yale law professor sent her graduate students out to take a look at industrial accidents and incidents. And spreading all those causal analyses out on the table, they looked at the conditions and circumstances that bounded each event. And most of the time, some would say about 80% of the time, managers decided to motivate the employees to better performance. Motivate the employees because they didn't think they really cared about what they were doing, so we're going to teach them how to care more. The reality was it had very little to do with the motivation of the people involved in the work. It had more to do with a lack of ability. Motivation is not about enthusiasm, it's about effort. We routinely think that if we inspire people to act, that should sustain them in their performance. And it doesn't. It wears thin. The truth is that somebody is motivated to do something based on what they get out of it. There's always a payoff for doing what we do. And my payoff for doing what I'm doing may not be the same payoff you get for doing what you're doing. We're at odds in the workplace with different motivations. Good luck trying to circle those cats together and create a herd that will move towards a common goal. It's not going to happen. Here's the reality. Motivation is not about enthusiasm. It's not about inspiration. It's not about the fire somebody has. It's about the fire that is sustained because they know that putting in the effort will give them a bigger benefit. So if you want motivation to fail, here's the formula. Increase the effort without an increase in benefit. There's not a single human being that will do more to get less. If you want people to be motivated, you want to increase the benefit while increasing the effort. People are self-motivated when they see there's a greater payoff for it. Not one that you desire, but the one that I desire. So the easier thing to do, and the thing that we must do as organizations, is focus more on the ability issues. The ability issues include the time I'm given to accomplish a task, the resources that are allocated to me, a clear definition of the goals and a clear expectation set so I understand that I'm meeting it. Whatever it is, we can increase ability. And it's a much easier challenge to face than trying to motivate anyone. But I got a story for you. When I was 17, I was a busboy in the front of a house. First job I ever had. I would bike to work, take public transit to work. The people in the front of the house like me, waiters and busboys, didn't make nearly the money the people in the back of the house did, the chefs and the cooks. So one day I asked the head chef, Kitchen Jack Adams, "Hey chef, all those folks back there do is read a recipe and then put out the food, but we're the ones who have to serve it. And they make almost twice the money we're making. Why don't you give me a shot at that?" And he said, "You think it's that easy?" And I said, "No, I know it's that easy because I've watched them work." So he gave me a recipe for a banquet that night to make a béarnaise sauce. And he put me to work. And as I was folding the ingredients in, I was breaking down the sauce faster than it was building up. And he walked over in my frustration and said, "It's not as easy as you thought, is it, Joe?" I said, "No, it's far more difficult than I thought, even though what I have to do is written down for me." He said, "Well, let me give you the secret towards a great sauce. You want to reduce the volume without losing the essence." Well, that's what I'd like to do with you here on the topic of motivation. You see, all these books are the ingredients, and if you put them into a pot to break them down, I want to keep the essence, but not having you work through that entire volume. Let me share with you what these authors have shared with those who have read their books. And I would advise you to take the time to read their books, but in just a couple of minutes, here are a couple of things I've learned from them. Motivation is not the issue. Ability is the issue. You know, the YMCA years ago had an issue. With a lifeguard present at 3,000 lakes and indoor pools, there were 3,000 drownings per year, which obviously suggests the lifeguard wasn't doing their job. So every time there'd be another drowning throughout the year, there'd be yet another letter that came from management saying, "Stop that. We want you to do something different. We won't tolerate another mistake. And all those letters that you've read yourself in your own workplace didn't matter to the people that mattered. And so in order to improve motivation, it's not the dire warnings or the threats that ever get somebody to improve their performance. It's improving their performance by giving them greater ability. It took 30 years for the YMCA to realize that. They gave up on those messages and instead focused on the method. You see, they realized that every lifeguard had a different way of paying attention. That if you don't teach people how to pay attention, they'll do what comes natural to them, what motivates them, and without ability, it doesn't matter. People are successful for two reasons. They're motivated, meaning they want to be, and they're also able to be. That means they know how to be. And so it was the how-to that they were missing. So they developed a practice in the year 2000 called the 10-10 scan. And after 30 years of struggling to motivate lifeguards, they began to get it. And by a practice called the 10-10 scan with very discrete steps that you can observe and that they can practice, they reduced the drownings in the United States from 3,000 a year to less than 300. Now imagine this. It's 1975. You're a lifeguard. Your supervisor comes by and asks you if you're doing your job. And you turn around and tell them, you see anybody drowning? Which is what too many organizations do when it comes to measuring performance on the job. You see a group of workers, you walk up and ask, are you doing the job well, and are you doing it without injury? And they'll turn around and say, you see anybody getting hurt? Which is a lousy way to measure success. It means nothing to us at that moment in time. But with the right ability, having taught them what to do, not just why to do it, you can walk up to somebody today, like the YMCA might, and say, hey, are you doing your job, protecting the people in the lake or in the pool? And they will tell you exactly how they're protecting them. Not just why they want to protect them, motivation, but what they're doing to protect them. Yeah, I'm doing these things in this way, and here's the result we're getting. That's what we need when it comes to motivation and ability. This is Joe Estey. Thank you for joining us for the Lucas Organizational Performance Training Moment.